Hey everybody, I'm Christina, founder of Afrix AI, and I'm gonna tell you that this will probably be the most important video you will ever watch for 2026 and beyond. So let's talk about how you can actually use your data to grow your construction firm or your contractor who does a specific trade. And what if I told you that 90% of construction projects go over budget and 77% finish late, according to KPMG? This is the reality for most contractors. But here's the thing though, the companies that are bucking this trend are working harder, they're working smarter, and they're working smarter by actually using their data. So now going forward in 2026, the AI in construction market is projected to hit 4.86 billion with a B, growing at over 24% annually. This affirms, so the firms that figure out how to leverage their data will now dominate in the next decade. The ones who don't, they'll be left behind, wondering where all their money went. So today, I'm going to show you exactly how construction companies track their KPIs, where they're losing money, and 5 specific AI powered strategies you can implement to grow your revenue in 2026 and beyond. So here's the problem I like to walk through. Why most construction data fails. And I like to call it the spreadsheet trap. So let me paint a picture that probably sounds familiar. Your project data is in one spreadsheet, your financials are in another, your schedules are somewhere else on a different platform, and by the time someone puts it all together, the project has already moved on. So key statistics to display. So construction teams lose more than 11 hours per week just tracking down updates. 88% of spreadsheets contain serious errors, according to the research done by the University of Hawaii. Traditional cost estimation methods show 15 to 20% of variance from the actual project cost. Only 31% of projects come within 10% of their budget. So this isn't about inefficiency, it's about real money literally bleeding out of your business. Money that goes into unbilled change orders, wasted materials, idle crews, and missed opportunities. So let's talk about it. The KPIs that actually drives the revenue. So before we get into the whole AI solutions, let's get clear on what data should you actually be tracking. The top construction firms don't track everything, they track what matters. All right, so let's focus on financial KPIs, which is, I like to call it the money metrics. So why does it matter for revenue? So here are some KPIs to keep track. Obvious ones: gross profit margins. So top contractors achieve 21.8% benchmarks. Shows how efficiently you turn revenue into profit per project. Cost performance index, or CPI. Earned value divided by actual costs, which is below 1.0. 1.0 equals bleeding money. So real-time tracking prevents profit erosion. Day sales outstanding, or DSO, how fast you collect payment. High DSO equals cash flow problems. So target industry average or better, right? So you got to track that very carefully. Revenue growth rates, so month over month or YOY growth, essential for identifying trends and planning capacity. So those are the financial KPIs you need to track for your construction firm. Let's get into operational KPIs. I like to call these the efficiency metrics. And this is why it's important to track for your revenue. So you need to track this KPIs under operational. For operational KPIs, you need to track schedule performance index, which is earned value divided by planned values, and delays equals to liquidated damages plus reputation damage. The next operational KPI you should be tracking is the labor productivity rate. So the output per labor hour. So labor costs are, let's say for example, 500K plus annually for 200-person crews. So small gains equals massive savings. Months and backlog, right? So backlog divided by, revenue divided by 12. So industry average is 9.2 months. We should have something in the backlog. Low equals to needs new contracts urgently. Change order capture rate. So change orders perform versus build. Unbilled work equals pure profit loss. So here's the reality. You probably already have most of this data. It's scattered across 15 different spreadsheets, text messages, might be in your head somewhere, email threads. The question isn't whether you have the data, it's whether you can actually use it to make decisions. So I'm gonna go over the 5 AI powered strategies to grow your construction company. Let's do that. So going to the first strategy, predictive cost estimation and bid optimization. So 32% of construction costs overruns come through estimation errors. Traditional methods takes weeks and still miss the mark. AI changes this completely. So what can AI do? So what AI does is that it analyzes thousands of past projects to identify cost patterns in seconds, achieves up to 97% accuracy in cost predictions versus 80 to 85% the traditional way, tracks real-time material price fluctuations and adjusts estimates dynamically, predicts change order probability and builds in realistic contingencies. And also, it can reduce estimation time by 50 to 90%. So takeoff's done in minutes, not in days. So what's the revenue impact for this strategy? It cuts costs by 5 to 10% on average, improves bids win rate by 20% through competitive but profitable pricing, enables bidding on more projects, which is time savings, which is capacity gains. So here's a real world example. A general contractor is using the Atlas Technologies tool, found scheduling optimization that saved $25 million on an 8-mile highway project by analyzing multiple scenarios the team couldn't evaluate manually. And for those who are not familiar with what the Atlas technology is, it allows you to run through what if scenarios for each of your projects, and it uses AI to do that. So really powerful. So tools that definitely you can research to implement this strategy. It is Atlas Technology, Takeoff, Tollgate.ai, ProEST, Autodesk. So these are all different softwares and tools you can use to implement this strategy. All right, strategy number 2, AI-powered labor and workforce optimization. The construction industry needs 499,000 new workers by 2026. So you can't hire your way out of labor shortage, but you can get more from the crews you already have. So what AI does? So what AI can do is that it can analyze your workers' skills, certifications, and availability in real time, predicts labor needs based on historical data, weather, and project phases, optimizes crew scheduling to minimize idle time and travel, detects productivity patterns and bottlenecks automatically, flags payroll anomalies and time tracking errors before they hit your books. So here's the revenue impact. 20 to 30% increase in field workers' productivity, right? And this is all based off of the research off of McKinsey. So I not make these numbers up. This is all done by research by the McKinsey Research Center. So 20 to 30% increase in field workers' productivity, 8 to 12% in reduction in labor costs through better allocation, 80% reduction in false truck rolls. So crews are arriving without proper materials and equipment. That's terrible. So we don't want that to happen. Construction schedule acceleration. One firm saves 45 days using AI scheduling. So here's a real example how this strategy applies. So Bechtel used AI to optimize resource distribution across multiple projects achieving 10% cost reduction through better skilled labor allocation. So here are some tools you can research that you can use in your workflow today, how you can apply this strategy. Procore Workforce Management, Smart Barrel, Lumber, and Atlas Technologies. Let's get into strategy number 3, predictive risk and delay management. What if you could see problems coming before they hit? What if your system warned you before a supplier delays delivery or flag scheduling conflicts before crews waste hours waiting on site? So how does AI help you with this? So this is what AI does. AI can combine weather forecasts, supply chain data, and subcontractor performance to predict delays. Analyzes historical patterns from similar projects to flag high-risk activities. Monitors equipment health to predict maintenance needs, avoiding costly breakdowns. Reviews contracts and documents to identify hidden risk and compliance issues, and provides real-time safety hazard detection from cameras and wearable. It's so crazy what AI technology can do. And here's the revenue impact when you apply this strategy. Based off of Doolittle research, 10 to 20% reduction in budget and timeline deviations, avoids costly liquidated damages from preventable delays, reduces safety incidents, and is protecting both people and profits, enables proactive supplier negotiations before price spikes hit. And here's a real example. So 9 major contractors, including Suffolk, DPR, and Mortensen, partner with SmartVid IDEO to use AI for predicting job site incidents, significantly reducing safety-related delays and cost. So tools that you can research, that way you can apply this strategy, is SmartPM, SmartVid.io, Document Crunch for contract analysis and risk, and Build Ops. So these are the tools that you can kind of look up and see which one you can add to your workflow. That way you can apply this strategy. Strategy number 4. This is my favorite one. Revenue leakage detection and profitability analytics. So one of the biggest hidden profit killers in construction is work that never makes it onto an invoice. Change orders performed but not billed. Time spent on revisions that weren't formalized. If it's not documented and billed, it's coming directly out on your margins every time. So here's what AI can do for you. AI can automatically compare POs, invoices, and delivery tickets to catch the discrepancies, flags unbilled work and scope creep before it becomes free labor, identifies cost anomalies and patterns across projects, analyzes profitability by project type, crew, location to find your sweet spot, and reconciles invoices in seconds versus hours of trying to manually match it yourself. So here's the revenue impact. Captures revenue that was previously leaking through unbilled work, reduces material waste up to 50% through better tracking, hits budget targets with 94% accuracy based off of Balfour Betia, and they actually achieved this, and then informs smarter bidding on future projects based on real profitable data. So real example, Balfour Betia, Betty used predictive analytics to achieve a 20% in material waste and hit budget targets with 94% accuracy by integrating AI into pre-construction planning and supply chain logistics. That's great work. So tools to research, that way you can apply this strategy, which is Subbase AI, which is basically a tool that allows you to do invoice reconciliation in 21 seconds. That is insane. NetSuite, Contractor BI, and PlanYard. So definitely check out all those tools and see which one you feel comfortable using, and see you can add it to your workflow and apply this strategy. So let's get into strategy number 5. Intelligent project documentation, acknowledge, capture. Every project generates a mountain of data, but most of it disappears magically for some reason before the project ends. The smartest contractors are capturing this intelligence and using it to make every future project better. And this is powerful data that you can use. So how can AI help you with this aspect? What AI can do is it can use computer vision like helmet cameras, drones to track real-time progress versus plan, automatically extract key information from contracts, RFIs, and specs, create searchable knowledge base from past projects for instant reference, identifies which crews and subcontractors and approaches consistently deliver best results, learns from completed projects to improve future forecasting accuracy. And that's the beauty of tracking this type of data, because if you use AI and the analytical and the pattern identification, that intelligence will help you for future projects, and it will lead to less errors, less mistakes, and more accuracy and more money in your pockets. So speaking of more money in your pocket, here's how this strategy impacts your revenue. First one it does is that it reduces rework by 18%. And this is based off of the China State Construction case study. Cuts document search time by 30%, builds institutional knowledge that survives employee turnover, creates a competitive advantage through accumulated intelligence. So, real example is BillDots use helmet-mounted cameras and computer vision to collect real-time data about project status, providing firsthand information to project teams and catching issues before they become expensive problems. So tools you can research to kind of leverage and apply this strategy within your team today. Check out BillDots, Document Crunch, Procore AI, Trimble, which basically connects RFIs, punch lists, and change orders to drawings. So now that we went through all the strategies, now let me show you why going into 2026 that AI is just not an advantage, it's a necessity. And it's a necessity to have AI into your workflow. So here's the market reality. AI adoption in construction jumped from 26% to 37% between 2023 to 2025. That is like a 42% increase. So 87% of contractors believe AI will have a meaningful impact on construction. The global construction market is projected to hit 12.1 trillion in 2025. The labor shortage intensifies to 499,000 new workers are needed by 2026. So here's the early adopters results. So for those who are in a construction firm or they're a contractor and they are adopting to AI, each additional AI tool correlates with a 1.14% revenue uplift per $100 million in sales. So for a $100 million contractor, that means 1.1 million more revenue and 200K more profit annually. And 1/3 of contractors report saving 100 to 500,000 using these tools. So AI can reduce project costs by 10 to 15% and durations by 15%. So if you think about it, the companies that are implementing AI now are building data advantages that will compound over time. So every project makes their systems smarter. Every estimate gets more accurate. Every schedule gets more tighter. And if you wait until AI is like mainstream to start, you'll be years behind the companies that started today. We are still in the early stages, and I believe that it's just my prediction. By 2030, AI will be used everywhere and will be mainstreamed. So if you want to get a competitive advantage, here's my challenge to you. Pick one of these 5 strategies and start exploring it this week. You don't need to overhaul your entire operations. You just need to take that first step. So where to start? If you're losing money on bids, start with the predictive estimation strategy. If your crews are constantly waiting, start with the workforce optimization. If projects keep getting delayed, start with the risk management strategy. And if you're not sure where your profit and where your money is going, start with the revenue leakage detection strategy. So if you want to keep making the same mistakes, start with the knowledge capture. So if you need help implementing any of these strategies, that's exactly what we do at Apryx AI. My name is Christina. We specialize in building custom AI solutions for construction companies and firms, solutions that actually work with your existing tools and workflow. So feel free to drop a comment below. Tell me which strategy you're going to implement and focus on first. And if you found this video valuable, hit the subscribe button, like the video, and hit the bell notification, because we are releasing more content like this almost every week. So remember, the goal isn't to replace your expertise with AI. The goal is to amplify what you already do. Take all that knowledge we have built over the years and decades and give it the data infrastructure it deserves. So the future of construction belongs to the companies that turns data into decisions. Let's make sure that that is you and you're getting ahead before AI becomes mainstream everywhere. Other than that, I'll see you in the next video. Take care.